This is KLEAN Radio.
Welcome, everybody out there listening to KLEAN Radio. Go to KLEANradio.com and post. Our hashtag tonight is communication. Also go to Facebook, like I said, facebook.com/KLEAN Radio. Let us know what you like. Go to Twitter @KLEAN Radio. We have an amazing show tonight, but instead of Andrew Spanswick, we have Dr. Jason Coe in studio. Welcome, Dr. Jason Coe.
Hi, Judah.
How are you?
Good.
One of the things I wanted to talk about tonight, I posted a blog. It's on KLEANradio.com. And in this blog, I actually talk about a lot of the things, the small issues that I go through, and I bring up, the fact that one eye is worse than the other eye, that I have a stress fracture in my left foot, that these little things, these little nagging things that sometimes I'm a little scared to talk about out loud, these little secrets I have, meeting a lot of unavailable women. And the reason I wanted to talk about that was because as I was writing these things, it was very cathartic. It felt really good to get it out, to get these little nagging things out and out to a lot of people that are reading it too. But, and I offer also in the article, I said, well, what are some of your solutions? Because I'd love to hear from people, and I'd love to hear people's little quirks. And one of the little quirks I spoke about was it causes a lot of trauma sometimes in my life, especially in relationships. And one of them is when it comes to hotel rooms, I have a hard time.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, I have an extremely hard time sleeping in hotel rooms. And I saw this blacklight special on ABC about 10 years ago, or 15 years ago at this point, which I wish I never would have saw. And it traumatized me.
What was that about?
It was about the things that are actually in the hotel room, on the walls, on the sheets.
The germs.
The germs. Yeah. And it was worse than germs. I could deal with germs. I couldn't deal with what I saw. And it's been really hard. It's been really hard in relationships. If you're dating somebody and they want to go to a hotel, it's a little weird bringing your own blanket and pillows and sheets. And which if I'm in state, I actually do that. I bring these things up tonight because I know a lot of people out there struggle with these little things. And
little things and big things.
And that grow into big things.
Mm-hmm. And can grow into big things if you don't talk about them.
Right. So give us a call. The number is 888. The number is 800-222-5222. That's 800-222-5222. I want to hear from you tonight. I'm sober a while, and these are things that have cropped up, Doc, in sobriety.
Well, that's true. Yeah. Once you get sober, you begin to feel your feelings and emotions, and you need to talk about them. You're no longer numbing them out or somehow escaping from them. So it's important to talk.
You also sometimes, I think, wake up with issues you didn't realize you had.
Well, that's true.
And, you often hear people when they get sober go, when I was drinking, I never got sick.
I don't believe that.
Well, because they wwere treating their flu with drugs or alcohol.
They didn't know that they were sick. They felt so bad from the drugs and alcohol that, you get sick, okay.
So why don't you share, to help people out there, tell something about you that you don't talk about that much.
Gosh, I don't know what to say.
How about your knee?
Well, I was going to say my knee. I've got an arthritic knee, and I'm often in pain. There's not a day that passes without pain in my knee, and there's some days where it hurts the whole day. And, it's tough. But, walking is a lot of fun. So it's something that, I resent, but I have it, and I have to deal with it.
And I think a lot of people out there, our hashtag tonight is communication. Don't minimize and get through things. And I think a lot of people, it's not fun talking about these things. It's not fun, as I was writing this article, who wants to say these things, certain things out loud? We went to a concert, you and I recently. We went to see Billy Joel at the Hollywood Bowl. It was a great time, but it's a hard walk.
That was a lot of walking.
It was a lot of walking, and
I was limping by the end. And
you were limping. I was half limping too, and we did it. but we shared about it too. And I think that's sharing. So if you're out there, give us a call. And I want you to share with it, because I really think once you share these things, once you start to get open and honest about these things, it makes life so much easier.
Well, it does. You don't want to let these kind of feelings build up to where they become toxic and they start to affect how you feel, and they affect your personality and interactions with other people. You know, if you hold resentments, you know, if there are issues with people that you haven't dealt with, you know, you need to get them out. There needs to be a way to communicate.
What are some of the biggest things that arise for people as they're getting sober?
Well, we know a lot of people who are getting sober have, you know, issues from their past, their childhood. There's physical abuse. Maybe there's been neglect, oftentimes sexual abuse. We see all that. And these are things that we want to know about. We want to understand how those abuses or traumas impacted that person and what effect it has on their life. Yeah.
So one of the things I actually wrote about in the article, too, was losing my tooth a few years back. You know, I lost my tooth.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
Yes, it was a couple. Yes, you did. You actually helped me through the whole process.
Did I?
You don't remember me losing it. Remember, I was in tremendous amount of pain, and actually ended up losing the tooth, and I was depressed. I had lost my tooth, and I'd called Andrew, and Andrew said, it's normal. You know, you've had this thing your whole life, and you actually lost it. And it triggered a lot of emotions. Do these things happen for people?
Of course.
Yeah. Talk about that a little bit. Triggers.
Triggers.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we talk about a lot in the addiction world. Triggers is what, you know, what we're talking about are emotions that become overwhelming to the individual, and they get flooded. They don't know how to deal with it, and they often turn to substances to deal with those feelings.
And could turn back to the substance, too, unless these things are dealt with.
True, if you're already sober. I'm thinking about people who are already addicted. But, yeah, the emotions are, it's where we all live. You know, the emotional brain is the most important. And the intellectual brain is sort of the enemy of the emotional brain. And to the extent that we rationalize or think, you know, I can just get over this, or I should just get over this, I should be strong, you know, that's not a very healthy approach.
And I think that's actually very interesting what you just said, because it's, you know, it's that whole idea that I could make it through this, that I could, you know, it's, I guess it's a theme in America, you know, you could do that, you know, just suck it up and do it.
Yeah, be strong.
Be strong.
You know, that's why there's so much stigma against mental illness and addiction.
And if you just tuned in, you are listening to KLEAN Radio. That's Dr. Jason Coe. Give us a call. The number is 800-222-5222. That's 800-222-5222. We're talking tonight about communication, communicating about those things we hold secrets to ourselves, those things that we're scared to talk about, those things that could, if we don't share about, could grow and be far worse.
The more we think we can't talk about them, the more we need to talk about them.
So that's basically a good tip. If there's anything you don't think you need to talk about, you should talk about it.
Right. There should be this freedom to, you know, obviously you need to understand, you know, there's certain people you don't say certain things to.
Right.
But there needs to be somebody in your life that you can have that kind of open communication with.
And also, like I said, give us a call. The number is 800-222-5222. That's 800-222-5222. We have some really interesting topics also tonight, Doc. There's which state is the drunkest? And I'm not exactly, you know, I don't know if you're going to be able to figure them out. I could give you some hints.
Well, I'm not sure. Probably the southern.
No, you're a little off.
No?
Yeah.
No? Okay.
Think fishing.
Fishing?
For some reason, a bunch of the states here, fishing.
Fishing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to go through that throughout the
A lot of fishing in Louisiana.
Did it make the list?
Didn't? No. Well, I'm glad to hear that.
Louisiana did not make the list, but
my home state's healthier than I thought.
Yes, but it's actually very interesting because Maine is one of them.
It's so cold.
Wyoming.
Right, nothing to do.
Top 10 drinking states. And so we would love to hear from you. Let's go to Todd calling from Salem, Oregon. Todd, welcome back as always to KLEAN Radio.
Hi, Judah. Hi, Dr. Ko. I've talked with you before.
Hi, Todd. Yeah, I remember you.
I was going to say, I'm following your footsteps, Dad, Judah.
Good.
I'm taking a life and career counseling college class, Judah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I can understand why, I don't know, you must feel like kind of like a god as you like get people on their path to like a vocation.
No, Todd, definitely not. It's very cool though what you're doing, because I think a lot of people out there need to hear that, because that's one of those things we're talking about. A lot of people, when they get sober or they're going through it, Doc, don't think they could go to school. You know, they had such bad experiences, such traumatic experiences in school, like I did. I didn't think me going back to college was even a possibility.
Really?
And, I was a horrific student in high school. 65s were a family, entertainment. You know what I mean? It was like celebration if he gets a 65.
Oh, my goodness.
And I didn't have the tools. I didn't have the tools to function. And talk about things you don't want to share out loud about. I went back to school, and, got straight A's. But I was I didn't listen to myself, and I did it. And that's,
That's
and
good.
I've been, I can understand what you guys talk about, like those things that veer off, make you want to veer off. But I've been focusing back on myself, on what I want to do. And I've developed a relapse prevention plan, because I hear like everybody, I'm blaming this system, I'm blaming that. But if you have a relapse prevention plan, you can look at that, and that'll help you get by. I got a housekeeping job now. I got 10 hours a week, over $10 an hour. I'm in college 10 hours a week. They gave me my on-grounds privileges. I've been doing so well. I can go with walks with the staff all over the grounds here. And I'm in an advanced art club for 2 hours on Sunday. And now I have 2 really nice pieces of art to display at the art fair. We're having our art fair on 9/12.
That's amazing, Todd. I'm really happy for you.
Terrific.
Keep on keeping on. And I think to a lot of people out there that are listening, these are things that are so important. Going back to living, actualizing your dreams, Doc.
Yeah. Well, Todd, you're a role model.
Yeah.
And you take the credit. You deserve it.
Well, thanks a lot. I know I haven't been the best in the past, but I know I haven't been sane for that long. But the more sane days I put in, it seems like I've been doing good for a long time, but it really hasn't been that long. It seems like a long time, but I just need to keep putting in more days.
Todd, thanks a lot, by the way, and keep us in the loop, okay?
I will.
Talk to you soon.
Okay.
Doc, that's something very interesting, though, that he brought up. Alcoholics and addicts have the tendency to do this. It's minimizing the successes. It's,
sure.
In New York, they used to say, if you didn't take a drink today, if you didn't take a drug today, you're a miracle. And I think it doesn't matter if you have a month or 2 months or 2 days. That's a success.
That's right. You take, life is one moment at a time.
Yeah.
You take it as it comes, but you keep going forward and you do the right thing.
And I think it's just extremely important, too, to talk about. We're in the studio also with Buddy Totten. And say hi, Bud.
Hey, how's it going?
And one of the things we're talking about is not minimizing your issues. And you've also come a long way in sobriety.
Sure.
You were a very successful camera operator.
Right.
And it's been a long struggle back.
Oh, absolutely.
And talk about that a little bit. Because I think it's so important to talk about is in that sobriety thing is overcoming those things of what we tell ourselves that we can't do things.
Well, sure. I mean, my using toward the end was so out of control that I had no reference point to what a road to success would be. And for me, what was important is that I just had to break my new life off into small, reasonable little chunks and be like, okay, today I'm going to go to a meeting. I'm going to be in positive contact with my family, friends in recovery, my sponsor, and I'm going to get through this day clean, and I'll have another day clean. I'm going to get up and I'm going to do it all over again, and I'm going to take people's suggestion, and I'm going to try and fulfill what people are suggesting that I do to the best of my ability. And it was just a slow rebuilding. And then, and I knew if I kept doing that, and I just knew intuitively that I was on the wrong path, and now I'm on the right path, and I just followed my gut and took suggestions. And I mean, the important thing is that I wasn't, I had other people that I could turn to.
Yeah.
I have a whole team of people that I can run big decisions by, and I don't have to make all these decisions on my own.
That's actually a very interesting point, as getting a team around you. Doc, it could be a few people that you trust. Like you said, it's not about telling everybody these issues too. It's about finding a few.
Well, of course,
Yeah.
and that's the whole importance of the AA, NA, and 12-step program, where you surround yourself with people who are going to support your sobriety and will be there in the moment,
Absolutely.
hopefully at a moment's notice, and take care of you and support you in your sobriety.
How long does it take sometimes for, it's a long process, a sober thing. And it takes, you're a psychiatrist, but you also love to do therapy.
That's right. Yeah.
And it takes people a while to open up.
Of course it does.
Yeah.
You have to develop a relationship, a trusting relationship first. People have to believe that there's help out there and be ready for it as well. But, it varies. Some people jump right in. Others, they go back and forth. And, yeah, you have to take it as it comes.
And we're talking about communication tonight. Communicating about those things that bother, those secrets sometimes, those things we don't want to share out loud. And I'd love to hear from people. I'd love to hear what you're not talking about. Because for me, everything I've ever spoken about, after I hear about it, after I hear myself say it, it's almost like it was nothing. It's like, that's what I didn't want to talk about. And then I end up getting help for it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, it's like I said before, you detoxify by talking about it, and hopefully you're talking about it with somebody who's knowledgeable and mature and can give you the right feedback or interpretation of what it is you're dealing with, and get some perspective. I mean, we're all human.
Yeah, no,
So,
it's
not going to be anything new or different. We've heard it all.
we have heard it all. But one of the things that, it's actually interesting is, in the 12-step world, they encourage you not to get into any relationships, let's say in your first year of sobriety. They say no major changes is what it is. And I think so much trauma has,
I agree with that, because in all likelihood, you're going to get into a traumatic relationship. You're going to get into a relationship like the relationships you had when you weren't sober.
Right.
So,
and there's always going to be the one person that says it worked for me.
well, of course, every rule has its exceptions, and a way that proves the rule. But the important thing is that you don't want to get into a chaotic and ultimately unhelpful relationship.
And give us a call. The number is 800-222-5222. That's 800-222-5222. If you just tuned in, you are listening to KLEAN Radio. We're in the studio tonight with Dr. Jason Coe, who's an amazing psychiatrist, but you also believe in a heavy thing of what you believe in is therapy.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Psychotherapy, I think, is the most important aspect of change. And what we're talking about is to make a psychic change. And that's what protects people from going back to using.
You're completely right. And the reason I bring that up is because it's so often that it's become in this day and age of there's a pill for everything.
Right.
And you're very anti that. You're very let's figure out what's going on first.
I'm not afraid of using medication, and medication can be very helpful and open doors at times. But I think we also have to remember that a pill can't help you better understand your life or give you an interpretation about what's going on within your mind and with other people. So if you think a pill is going to solve your problems, it's almost a repetition of taking a drink or using some sort of heavier drug.
But I often hear people say, one day they're going to have a pill that's going to cure alcoholism. One day they're going to have I don't get that.
Well, I don't get it either.
Yeah.
We're in an age of what I call biologic reductionism, and that's the notion that everything can be explained, by understanding the brain. We maybe understand 2 or 3% of how the brain works, but this notion that we're going to have a pill makes no sense to me. And in many ways, I think it's already backfiring. That, I think we thought when we emptied the state hospitals, in the 60s, and we thought we were going to just give them Thorazine and they'd be fine. Well, that didn't happen. Now we have a lot of mentally ill, roaming the streets, and or actually many of them are in jail. Jails have become, in many ways, the biggest providers of mental health services. So the pills didn't solve those problems.
And I think it's a really interesting thing because it's another case of not dealing with things. Every commercial you hear is about, all over the radio, all over TV is like they have these sculpting your body things, right? And I'm constantly going, that sounds really good. I want my body sculpted. Yeah, exactly. I don't even know what it means. I really don't, but it sounds so good. Because you know what it sounds to me like? I have to put no work in. I go into some clinic for an hour. Presto changeo, I have a sculpted body. Mm-hmm. And I know that
whatever
that is, and I have no idea what that is. Yet I know so many people are calling them up going, I want my body sculpted, because otherwise they wouldn't have a commercial on. And
True.
It's the easy fix. It's like there is a sculpting body technique. It's called going to the gym every day.
That's right.
It's called me joining up at the YMCA one day with you, and actually doing that.
Yeah. Diet, exercise, sleep.
And again, you wouldn't be dealing with if you're just doing the sculpting. You're not dealing with what's getting you into that position in the first place.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Why do you want a sculpted body, and what does that mean to you?
I don't even know what that means, but let's talk about sculpted bodies.
What does it mean internally, though?
Yeah.
Emotionally, if I have a better body, does that mean I'm going to have a better relationship, a better life? These are externals.
Maybe I'll go do it and I'll write about it. And we could have a whole show on me getting my body sculpted. And if you just tuned in, you are listening to KLEAN Radio. And I really think, though, that's I think that pill, it's this concept out now. One day we're going to have this for this, this for this. When it comes to the brain, Doc, you got to deal.
No, and what about the whole issue of spirituality?
Exactly.
Where does that come from? Can you take a pill to become more spiritual?
I love that you're a doctor that talks about spirituality. It's sort of, because so many people in your field, it's the reverse sometimes. And it's so refreshing to hear a psychiatrist, to hear a therapist. Talk about that.
Yeah. Well, it's a shame that we train all kinds of therapists and psychiatrists and doctors for that matter, but there's nothing on spirituality or religion.
And if you just tuned in, you are listening to KLEAN Radio. Give us a call. The number is 800-222-5222. That's 800-222-5222. When we get back from the break, we are going to give you the rest of the 10 drunkest states in America. And here's a hint. A lot of them you could go fishing in. And I don't even fish. And so give us so stay tuned. You are listening to KLEAN Radio.
Don't let addiction to drugs or alcohol steal another year of your life. KLEAN Treatment Center provides world-class addiction assistance that also treats the underlying causes and provides vital aftercare so people can get clean and stay clean. Live, kind, professional help is standing by to provide immediate assistance or to simply answer questions and provide guidance. If you or someone you care about is suffering from addiction, take action now. Log on to KLEANTreatmentCenters.com. That's KLEAN with a K.
Welcome back to KLEAN Radio. No Andrew, but in his place, the handsomely talented Dr. Jason Coe.
Thank you, Judah.
And tonight our hashtag...
no Andrew.
You are no Andrew. And tonight our hashtag is communication, talking about things that you don't want to have to talk about sometimes, those little embarrassing things that we walk around with. And Lord knows, into sobriety, I kept so many of them, so many of those little secrets.
Little secrets and big secrets. Yeah. Don't forget the big ones.
Don't forget the big ones.
Because those are the ones we hide the most.
That is definitely true. And, you know, one of the things that I started off by saying was, that, you know, the hotel room stuff, which terrifies me, which I don't like saying it out loud. I just don't like saying out loud that I'm scared to death of hotels. Yeah. And I have brought pillows to hotels. If I could pre-order new sheets in a hotel room, I would. And I say this jokingly because I say it out loud, and I've joked about this for a long time, but it's embarrassing. It can have the potential because so much of my life.
Is it getting better?
Yeah, it is actually.
Now that we're talking about it.
It was actually worse when I first got sober, my first couple of years into sobriety. It got worse because I let it get worse because I wasn't sharing about it. The more I started sharing about it, the more I started sharing. And that's an important thing. 6.5 months ago, I went through a terrible breakup. You were there for me. Yeah. Patrick was there for me. Buddy was there for me. Everybody, people in my life. For the first time in my life, I said, I need people to count on. And so, Buddy, what are some of your things?
Oh, man. Well,
that's got to be bad. Anything that's prefaced with, oh, man. Yeah.
I wrote a few of them down. I've always been terribly insecure that I walk on my toes. And I've always done that since I was a little kid. You know, my household was really abusive, and so not to wake up my dad, who was passed out drunk, I'd walk on my toes, you know, to make as little noise as possible. And so that carried over into my adulthood. It was so embarrassing when I catch myself doing it, you know.
So you couldn't be a kid?
No, there was no being a kid.
You were taking care of your dad.
Well, taking care of my dad and just making sure you didn't wake the beast up, because once he passed out, you know,
that really gives a whole new meaning to walking on eggshells. And I'm not saying that jokingly. That you literally
I would pretend that the inside of my house was a minefield, and then I found the quietest path, you know, to not make the floors creak.
Man, I'm proud of you. What else?
I mean,
weight. You started with the most traumatic first.
I know. Weight has always been a huge thing,
especially for men.
That is what really. Well, for one thing, to get off of my horrendous opiate addiction, I switched to methamphetamine, and then I quickly learned that cured the weight thing as well. So it was really to get out from under that was crazy. You know, and just general shyness, fear of rejection. You know, which is normal. I have tremendous stage fright, which is a real bummer when you're a musician. You know, you're right. And so always dealing with that.
But you're in studio on camera?
I know. I'm terrified right now.
That's
completely terrified, you know. And then I used to stutter really, really bad. And then when I get nervous, as was demonstrated when we were talking previously, it starts in again. And, you know, but I'm dealing with all these things, you know.
I'm proud of you, buddy.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. And if you just tuned in, you are listening to KLEAN Radio. That was Buddy Totten sharing some of his, you know, peccadillos, you know?
Exactly, little peccadillos.
And let's go to Ron calling from Englewood. Ron, welcome to KLEAN Radio.
Hi, I called you approximately sometime last year. I was contemplating, thinking about quitting drinking again, and I forget what I wanted to ask you, but I have quit again. I started the day after Thanksgiving last year.
Right.
So I'm coming up on close to a year again, and I've done this 4 times now.
Right.
This is 4 different years, and I just decided to. This time, I would like to. I think I would like to keep going, but I can see that it's coming up. I can see, well, you know, you've got so much control, and why should I? I mean, I'm in good health. I haven't got. I go to some AA meetings, not very many, but I see people there that most of the people there reach the end of their rope where they got in so much trouble,
right?
Either health-wise or DUIs or whatever.
Yeah.
They couldn't do anything else. I never got that far.
Okay, so Ron, here's the thing. Let's talk about that a little bit. You're comparing your bottom to other people's bottoms.
Right.
You're going into these meetings, and you're saying, well, that guy's homeless. That guy's had issues with the law. I'm not that bad.
Right.
Something in you've tried this 4 times. So Dr. Ko was talking about spirituality before. You know, that's the bottom to me, is when people are spiritually dead. That's the only bottom that I ever think about when it comes to people getting sober is that I was walking around with no spirit.
Well, that's one aspect. Yeah. I was wondering, how bad does it have to get, before you stop?
Well, I enjoyed drinking, and from the pro side of it, the little evil guy on one shoulder says, "Well, what's the problem? You enjoy it. I'm kind of a by myself person. I don't like to be around people. I've always been a loner. It's kind of, I enjoy it after I've worked all day. There's nothing I like better than to put my feet up and have a couple of beers or a few whatever, whiskey, wine, whatever. I like. There's a variety of things I like, but I don't have to drink the whole bottle. I don't have to drink the whole 6-pack.
You don't have to. But here's the thing, Ron. How much thoughts have you put into this? About thinking about relapsing?
I go for days and don't. Yeah. I mean, I made up my mind. I'm not going to drink at least for this coming year. And it's coming up to close to a year again. And it's not like I have to fight it off. I go for days and I don't know, for a long period of time. I'm set on I'm set on automatic. I'm automatic pilot, and I'm not going to veer from that. But I know I'd like to. I know it wouldn't take me long to get back in the habit. But I've convinced myself that I can. Okay, let's say after a year I want to start back. I can limit myself to 3 drinks a day. I'm convinced that I can do that. Maybe I'd be wrong, but I'm convinced that I can do that.
Doc?
I was going to ask, how do you like not drinking?
It's good. I like it. I feel good all the time. I don't feel good all the time. I'm just getting some age on me, and I work hard. I'm tired a lot, but I mean, I know I feel pretty good. And I eat healthy. I've always done that. I've always worked out. I'm a pretty healthy person.
Except,
but it didn't change anything. Me quitting drinking didn't change a thing.
Ron, because you already said it. You're physically healthy. You eat well. There's one part of your body that you're not taking care of.
What's that?
Your mind. You're not. It's. You use the first thing you started saying by going. You go sporadically to 12-step meetings. Do you go to a therapist?
I have been.
Oh, recently you've been going regularly?
I went for probably 2 months. Probably. I enjoyed something for a while called Toastmasters, and I met a therapist there that I just connected with, and we had some sit-down sessions, and I enjoyed them. But at the end of the day, nothing changed. Nothing. He didn't tell me anything I didn't already know.
Right. So, Ron, here's a suggestion for you. And are you willing to take a suggestion?
I'm looking for a suggestion.
I'm going to tell you what.
Feedback.
We're going to do the 90-day Ron challenge, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so are you familiar with what an outpatient program is?
Some kind of treatment where you don't stay in the hospital.
That's exactly right. It's sort of like, you go to a therapist, you have a group or two, and you meet other people that are going through what you're going through. Mm-hmm. It's a couple times a week. Would you be up for something like that?
Are they hour-long sessions?
Sure.
And you have to go twice a week?
You have to go whatever's best for you.
Okay.
We're trying to get you pointed in a new direction.
It depends on what time of day they're available, and like evening or night, first thing in the morning.
It's all the time. It's one of the cool things sometimes about being in an outpatient program is they could gear it towards your schedule sometimes.
Okay.
And I'll tell you, we're gonna hook you up with an amazing outpatient program. That's Ron, if you're interested, and that's your 90-day challenge. It's to go to outpatient. And it's to go to maybe a few 12-step meetings along with that. And in 90 days, let's see if there's a change.
Okay.
Are you up for that, Ron?
Yeah.
Doc, what do you think?
Sounds good. Well, what we're trying to do is give you a new perspective.
Yeah.
Right, because it's like I'm doing this for a big deal. Why should I bother? And I wanted to get what I wanted to get somebody's perspective on it. For me to change my outlook.
it sounds like you're in a rut, and either way. So something new in your life would make a difference. I don't know everything there is to know about you, but you're saying it doesn't seem to make much difference if you don't drink. But 3 drinks a day that's a fair amount. It's not terrible, and you're functional. But as time goes on, where are you going to be? And so I think it's a thought to the future.
And my biggest thing with Ron is life doesn't have to be this battle. And to people out there that are listening, I've been sober, a while. So has Buddy. Right. I don't walk through pavilions, and every time I see the alcohol aisle, part of me is being grabbed that way.
Right.
Because if that were the case after being sober for 15 years, something is amiss.
That would be hard.
That would be hard. And the goal, Ron, is the reason I'm going to do the Ron 90-day outpatient and a few 12-step meeting challenge is because I want to. I believe that this works, Ron. I know it works. And I know life's not meant to be about thinking about relapse, thinking about maybe I could only drink 3 drinks. To me, that sounds nightmarish. And I don't want you to be in that nightmare anymore, Ron.
Okay, well, I'll do what you say, but I mean, to me, it's not a nightmarish thought. It's a very pleasant thought. I hear people in AA talk about what a terrible thing it is, when they relapse. I wouldn't feel that way at all. I said, well, I give myself a pat on the back. I went for a long period of time without something I enjoy.
Ron, you know why I don't believe that? Because you wouldn't be talking about it. That you don't.
There's something that, I admit there's something there that,
I think you're tired.
I don't have the answer for.
Ron, I think you're tired of the process, and I think you're tired of going in and out, and I really think you wanted to stay. You want to stay. And here tonight we're saying stay. We're going to figure out a way for you to get into our outpatient program if that sounds good for you. But it's the Ron 90-day challenge. Can you hold on, and we'll get your number and all that info?
All right.
Perfect, Ron. Thank you.
Thanks for calling.
And if you just tuned in, that was Ron calling from Inglewood. You're listening to KLEAN Radio. We're in the studio 10 with Dr. Jason Coe, Buddy Totten. Give us a call. The number is 800-222-5222. That's 800-222-5222. Doc, I think he's a very interesting caller because he doesn't even know.
Doesn't know what he's missing. Yeah.
He doesn't know what that. It's like almost he's in purgatory of life, life with drinking, life without drinking, and it's like sitting in limbo.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you mentioned the spiritual issue, and that may be what he's concerned about here, and doesn't know it.
And I think people, it's something. I just want to say this, when it comes to outpatient, when it comes to 12-step meetings, but it's like any other disease, and alcoholism is a disease. The AMA says it's a disease. Our disease, right, for the most part, you get through it by talking about yourself a lot.
Yes.
By going to meetings with people.
Sure.
Going to eat.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good way of treating a disease.
Well, it's called normalizing your life.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. And getting routines down and being with people.
Yeah. And finding out what is, like you said, normalizing your life. That's a great way of putting it because it's finding out what is normal.
True. And normal being what is normal for you.
Yeah.
But life is about being with people, talking with people, sharing. What more is there?
I don't know. Buddy?
I would agree. I mean, life is about service and being of service.
Yeah.
And one of the most frustrating things is when you're in active addiction, at least for me, is I've always wanted to be a productive member of society and just be of service. And I couldn't do that because I couldn't help myself.
Helping others.
Yeah. Exactly. And so now I get to do that every day, and it's a privilege.
It's a gift.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think that's the interesting thing you just said is because, you meet so many alcoholics and addicts on a daily basis, and some of the kindest, most wonderful people. They make these promises that they really want to keep. The problem is when you have alcoholism and addiction, you can't.
Right.
Because there's something that's preventing you from, it's the alcohol and the drugs come first. And I love that you said, though, the normalizing your life, because I think for Buddy, for me, for so many people that have struggled with this, it was really tough learning. It was literally like learning how to do so many things from the beginning, starting over.
Yeah, right. sculpting your body is not what I would consider a normal.
I think we should start then. Instead of sculpting your body, we should be sculpting your brain.
Yeah.
And I gave that place so many plugs tonight. Okay, so many people are calling the body sculptors up and figuring out how to sculpt your body. But you know, it's funny when people say about that, though, also about the pill that's going to cure things. I sort of like the struggle. I like the journey. Yeah. You know, and it's almost like with a pill for that, you're taking away my journey.
There's no easy way, you know.
There isn't.
I mean, that's what this country, you know, one of the unfortunate aspects of this country is people think that there's an easy way to do it, you know, or if you were just prettier, or, you know, or toner, or whatever it is, or very common delusion, if you just had more money, that would solve your problems.
Right.
You know, but that's really not what life's about.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Because I'd be in trouble. And if you just tuned,
but you have a rich life.
I have a very rich life.
Yeah.
And if you just thank you. And if you just tuned in, you are listening to Clean Radio. Give us a call. The number is 800-222-5222. That's 800-222-5222. Let me get to the rest of the 10 drunk states in America. I can't believe nobody guessed Alaska.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's like numero.
It's so cold up there.
Florida,
I mean,
Delaware. You got Florida.
Florida, yeah.
Washington, D.C., Wisconsin, New Hampshire. I don't know why I'm pointing at you. Alabama and Idaho. 10 drunkest states in America.
Wow.
So,
goodness. What about drugs?
We'll have that top 10 list next week. And I, you know, I don't know what that is. But we're also talking about tonight about communication, talking about those things. What Ron did there is so amazing, is calling up and sharing his thoughts.
Yeah, it takes a lot of guts.
It's terrifying because he's sober and he's struggling. He's having that sober struggle, which I think so many people out there have, is that sober struggle. Especially in places, it's hard to talk about. The longer you stay sober, it's harder to talk about these issues. Because sometimes when you feel like you have to share so people that don't have time get a good impression, and you're scared to share the gnarly stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
And there are a lot of people out there, so the longer you stay sober, Doc, the harder it is to share, because you don't want to seem like, oh, the program doesn't work. This sobriety thing doesn't work. You always want to sound good.
True. You know, Ron is in some way dependent on alcohol, whether he's drinking it or not.
Right.
If he's not drinking it, he's thinking about drinking it. And, you know, I think we would need to find out more about his life, but I suspect that in some ways he feels impoverished emotionally and probably with his relationships. And, you know, like he says, he's a shy person who wants to stay home. I understand that.
I think he needs to meet you.
Right. Well, that would be nice. I'm a shy person, too, by nature.
Yeah.
But, you know, I deal with people every day, all the time. And it's wonderful.
Were you always able to do that?
No.
Why don't you talk about that a little bit? Because that's interesting, because I'm extremely shy. Buddy is extremely shy. But people that meet me go, you're not shy.
I know. I get the same thing.
You know, how could you be shy? And it's taken a lot of practice.
You know, you just have to get out there and do it. You know, I've certainly had a lot of therapy. But, you know, I grew up in a household where you didn't talk about feelings. My mother died when I was 6. And at that point, the family fell apart and nobody talked about it. And so I don't know what to say other than my father was a quiet person, and that's what I became.
But you're not that quiet. You're just quiet in.
I can talk, certainly, you know, if I'm comfortable. And I've learned to, you know, get comfortable with talking on the phone or talking to strangers. And, you know, I've chosen a profession that allows me to have closeness with people and in some ways not talk too much about myself, you know, that because, you know, when you're seeing somebody and treating them, it's not about you. It's about that other person.
I wish all therapists actually knew that, because I've met many therapists and many psychiatrists that I know more about them after the session than I did myself.
Well, that's a shame. Yeah.
But I think sometimes they think that's the way you're going to connect. They'll connect with me if I tell them about myself. One time I actually had a psychiatrist that told me that they were on meds. And I said to them, I don't need to know that. You know,
Too much information.
Right. I don't need know what's going on under your hood. Okay, we're here for this car. Right. And I walked out because it didn't make me comfortable. It didn't, the hip thing. It didn't.
Was that the first session?
That was the first session. It lasted about 10 minutes.
Really?
Yeah, they told me about them being on meds, and I said, that doesn't help me. I don't really want to know what your issues are.
And he probably wanted to give you medicine.
She wanted to give me medicine
right away.
And her wanted to give me me taking it was contingent on her telling me. You know, about her issues. Like, if I tell you about mine, then you're going to want to say,
right.
And no, didn't help. It made me want to run out of that doctor's office.
Well, I think you did the right thing.
Yeah.
Your instinct served you well.
Yeah. But I think it's like that for a lot of people. It's, you know, when we talk about this stuff, when we talk about therapy, when we talk about even 12-step meetings, when we talk about treatment centers, check it out.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, there's unfortunately a lot of people out there who don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And, you know, they haven't been sufficiently treated themselves, or, you know, their motivations aren't truly what the individual needs.
And to everybody out there listening, I'm not sure if you guys know what that September is National Recovery Month.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yeah. Woohoo. We actually have some amazing things coming out for National Recovery Month. So if everybody goes to facebook.com/KLEAN Radio, and we're going to be posting. We have some pretty awesome stuff.
Oh, it's great.
And what's bizarre about National Recovery Month is that usually only people in recovery know about National Recovery Month, because we have to spread the word. You know, we spread all. If there was a National Using Month, that would be the most famous month in the world. But National Recovery Month doesn't get as much press.
Right, sure.
So what are we going to do? That's what we're thinking about, Doc, how we can make National Recovery Month something to celebrate. So I'm thinking it has something to do with Buddy, something to do with his goatee and hair, because we have something to work with, like
right.
the cancer, right? Movember for prostate, they have the mustaches.
Okay.
So I don't know. We're gonna sculpt you, Buddy.
Are you?
And
we're gonna sculpt my body.
We're gonna make National Recovery Month something special.
Okay.
Doc, any ideas?
I don't. A goatee?
I can't grow one. It has to be something I could do too. And
You could grow one.
No, I can't grow a goatee.
Right.
And now we're talking about something that I'm ashamed of too. So thank you for bringing it up at the end of the show. A secret of mine.
Shave your head?
That's easy. You know, but let's be creative. And I want to hear from our fans out there. And go to facebook.com/KLEAN Radio and let us what you know. You know, I think of all these things, and I've always said we talk about these things, and they have harsh words. Mental illness is a harsh word, you know, and it's about changing the dialogue, changing the way we talk about these things. And for National Recovery Month, it's showing the people, it's showing our stories, it's showing of all the people that are recovering.
Right.
And I think that's where the message for National Recovery Month will get out.
Right, and that there is success in recovery, and that a lot of people have done it. You know, there's a lot of paths, but there are paths, you know, and people need to know that you can succeed.
And I think it's important to talk about too is that how your course of direction has also changed as you've been going through this, which I think is extremely special for a doctor or a therapist, you know, to change the way you've believed in some ways, or to change the way every day you think about addiction.
Oh, that's true. I guess you've watched it more closely than I have in a way, or at least have had the big sweep. But I've certainly learned quite a bit about addiction in the last 4 years since I've been out here.
We're an interesting bunch.
Yeah. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. And I think that's the part of the thing is that we take these things, the reason I wanted to also talk about this tonight is because Buddy shared these things. You shared, you know, about your knee and about your mom dying at the age of 6 and all these things, and yet you didn't share in your house. And so many of us take these things with us for the rest of our lives, and it doesn't allow us to change.
You don't have to do it alone.
Yeah. And I think that's the biggest thing. And
you shouldn't do it alone.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And Buddy,
yes.
Do you feel a little better after sharing about that?
I do feel better.
It feels good.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
I'm gonna get from Patrick what he's I'm gonna get from Patrick, our direct producer tonight. What you're gonna have to tell us. You're going to have to post it on Facebook, Patrick, because I'm actually really interested. That goes for you too, Monique, and that goes for everybody out there listening. If you're dealing with any of these things, you don't have to do it alone by yourself anymore. The courage that it took Ron to call us up tonight,
amazing.
and hopefully he goes to our outpatient program and he does the Ron 90-day challenge.
That would be great.
Yeah, where it's just for 90 days, give it a chance. Give it a real chance. You know, we drank every day. We used every day. When we get sober, we have to do the same thing treating ourselves.
That's right.
Yeah.
I don't know what more to say to that.
Yeah. No, it's you don't have to say anything. I like that you said that's all.
Yeah.
You know, and but it's the truth, buddy. You did it every day when you got sober.
Yes.
You know, you treated yourself. And so the people out there listening, there is hope to parents out there, to kids out there, to the loved ones. This is a disease, but there is hope. And National Recovery Month, you know, is coming up, and it's so easy to look at the negative that goes on TV. It's so easy to see all the deaths from addiction. Every story you see. Right?
It's all negative.
10 drunk states, 10 drug states, 10 this, 10 that.
And I would like to add the glamorization of alcohol and drugs.
Sure.
And the glorification, you know, which we see, you know, routinely in our treatment centers and people that are using. They talk about how great it is and they idealize it when the truth is it's exactly opposite. You know, it's a terrible thing and it ruins their lives, and they don't have anything to show for it.
And it's about making your life romantic. You know, there's something extremely romantic about living life.
That's right.
There's nothing romantic about Hunter S. Thompson, you know, or Hemingways. You know, these are the people we romanticize. And I know it's so uncool to say, you know, Hunter S. Thompson was an idiot. Okay? I said it out loud. I don't, you know, he died. He's dead. You know, let's romanticize the people that are recovering, that have lived, that are facing their lives on a daily basis.
Right.
That's the spiritual.
Right. Hemingway committed suicide.
Yeah.
He did, unfortunately.
Yeah, all the ones we romanticize. Let's romanticize the ones that have gotten sober. Buzz Aldrin, the second man on the moon. That's romantic. You know, there are a lot of us. Second man on the moon, Doc. How cool is that?
That's cool.
And he's already broke his anonymity, so I'm not breaking it.
Of course.
So if you're out there and you're struggling and you have a secret, just give us a call. The number is 888-601-6040. That's 888-601-6040. You know what? That's the thing. For National Recovery Month, Doc, I want to do the Ron 90-day challenge, which let's do it with people for the 30-day challenge. Challenge yourselves for 30 days.
Yeah. Try that new drug.
Yeah. Which is called life.
No drug.
Yeah.
Life. Yeah.
And I want to thank everybody. I want to thank Jose, Buddy, Dr. Jason Coe, Patrick, Monique, and Unique. And I want to thank everybody out there that listens to us and follows on Facebook. The discussion continues at KLEANRadio.com. I want to get better.
Don't let addiction to drugs or alcohol steal another year of your life. KLEAN Treatment Center provides world-class addiction assistance that also treats the underlying causes and provides vital aftercare so people can get clean and stay clean. Live, kind, professional help is standing by to provide immediate assistance or to simply answer questions and provide guidance. If you or someone you care about is suffering from addiction, take action now. Log on to KLEANTreatmentCenters.com. That's clean with a K.